I started my career long ago in school, you can say, where actually my dad was a diplomat, so I traveled a lot with him. And I landed up in Berlin, East Berlin at that time, where my dad was posted. And that's where my career started. And of course, there was no stop after that. He was posted to Santiago, Chile, where again I joined him in the middle of my art course. I did printmaking there. This is how I got into printmaking. And then I came back again to my college in Delhi College of Art, and I finished my course there. And then I got a scholarship to go to Paris. I got married there. It wasn't that romantic though. And then when we came back, we started the career, and I got a job in the College of Art. I taught there for almost 20 years, 14 years permanent, but it was totally male dominated. All the good teachers had left, and it was male dominated, and they were sort of like, they actually mentally harassed me a lot. And being an artist, I just could not cope up with it. So I chucked the job without pension, which was quite a tough decision because I had a 15-year-old kid to bring up single-handed, because I was a single mother. I was divorced 20 years back. So it's been quite a roller coaster ride. When my father was about to retire in 1980, he came back to India, and we had a big tragedy in our family. My only brother, Vivek, he passed away in a road accident. So that left a big void in my life, because it was difficult to sort of handle and emotionally stabilize my parents, who were at the end of their career and who were looking forward to spending time together with me and him and his family. But the tragedy sort of, it was very difficult, because at the same time I was also in the last year of my college. Then I got a scholarship to go to École des Beaux-Arts Paris, and I studied there, and at the same time I got married in Paris with a Haryanvi, Indian Haryanvi artist. And then we came back and got a job in the College of Art, and we started. So I always had printmaking as a major thing. I mean, even till today my heart is for the prints, but it's just because there's lack of space. I gradually turned into a painter because my son was born in 1990. It was impossible to do a full-time job and to look after old parents. Build a small apartment. It was all on my head. I had to do everything single-handed. It's been a tough journey. So that's where my you can say my Bhutaratna series started. I got married in '86, and when we came back, and already there were cracks coming up in my personal married life. I just happened to go to the Crafts Museum, and I saw a beautiful show called Bhoot Aradhna, curated by Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay. Now, Bhoot Aradhna is actually, they are sculptures from the south. Bhoot means ghost, Aradhna means worship, Bhoot Aradhna. So they worship that. When I walked into this Crafts Museum, I had these beautiful sculptures gazing at me, and that music. It just enchanted me so much. I went back the next day with my unprofessional camera, and I took pictures. Now I superimposed the photographs onto the litho stone, and I took out these prints. There was something psychological because of what I was going through and how that enchanted me, that whole ambience. And then I did a series of Bhutaratna. There was some sort of a thing where I felt that there is a Kali in me. It's not only me, every woman has a Kali in her, and she has a Durga. The Durga, the compassionate, and Kali, the ferocious one, who has all the anger that she goes through in her personal life, she takes it out. So I made this series called Kali in Me and Durga in Me. And like I said, bringing up a child, going through a turmoiled, horrible, messy marriage, doing a full-time job, it was actually like that, but I never stopped working. I mean, people were amazed. I never stopped working, I never stopped socializing. I like to socialize, why not? because at the end of the day, when you've had a tough day working, looking after parents, house, chores, child, you do need a little bit of outlet. So even till today, I mean, even now, life is not so easy. It's still tough, but I do like to go out and meet people and, you know, have a couple of drinks. Why not? And that's how my series started. And my series have been very, you can say, like, there have been periods, you know, like there is the torso phase, then there is the printmaking phase, then there was the Vatsalya phase. Vatsalya means the love of a mother for the child. We started living in my father's house upstairs. It was a Barsati. The old windows were lying on the terrace for many, many years, and my father used to say, get rid of that junk, it's horrible, get rid of it. But I think lying on the terrace, those windows became seasoned with all the rain and all the sunshine. So then I removed the window pane, the glass and the net, and I put ply on top of it. And I did this series which you see here, the Vatsalya series. It's on the doors. Was it a door closing on the past? Because that was just after my separation, and the door opening towards a new future. So when I worked on that, it was basically on my relationship with my child. You know, like the images he used and the symbols we used, and he also, with his tiny hands, he was just 5, 6 years old at that time, he painted on it, some of them. And then I separated in 96, and that's when my, you can say, my series started with Kali in me, Durga in me, gathering scattered petals. I think it's a very strong work, very feminist, and very, it's a thing that, you know, your married life is over, and like it's a freedom that I came out. So it's a work which I think it's very dear to me. And then I went to 97 to Mills College. There was a show, and I saw this show by Robert Rauschenberg. It has nothing to do with my works, but when I saw the retrospective at Guggenheim, I came back and I started working on the torso series, which I had started earlier, but it became my main thing, and I started embellishing. You see this work where the body, on the body, I've sewn, what do you call, beads. I was trying to sew the whole part, but then while I was sewing, I started having eyesight problem. So I just made a bikini. I just worked on the bikini and I left it. Earlier, the torso series were minimal. They were very minimal, strong, monumental, flat backgrounds. But over the years, now that I'm again back to torsos after 20 years, it's so kitsch. I've started adding things because my life has been a kitsch, total kitsch. So I've started adding things which I pick up from Old Delhi, from my trips to different cities, countries. I pick up a lot of junk, so-called junk, stickers. So I add it on, and that's what you're seeing here. You're seeing all these torsos, the latest one. So that's when my torso series started. That is the time in 2000 onwards, though I was bringing up my child alone, I realized that he was not very good in studies. He was working, he was slogging, but he never used to get good marks. And I used to get so frustrated coming home and making him do works. And then one day I read an article in the paper about dyslexia. And I said, oh my God, it's all the symptoms my son has. It was a very difficult time because nobody knew what is dyslexia. Schools didn't know. So this whole series started, you know, on the taktis, which you see here. Kids in villages go to study. They carry this takti. It's a board, like a chopping board. They write A, B, C, D, Ka, Kha, Ga, and then they come back and they paint on it every night, and then in the morning they again carry it. So this takti became a fun element. I started painting things like dyslexic things, also things like G.I. Joe toys, Tazos, all these started things coming into that. It was probably because the frustration that I was going through, that how do I cope up with this kid's dyslexia, and at the same time not give him that feeling that what I'm going through. You know, he's a kid. I don't want him to know what I'm going through. And there was at the same time terrible pressure from the College of Art Delhi, which was making me a mental wreck. And so the decision whether to leave, because I don't come from a family where I'm rich, I come from a very normal, slightly high middle class family. To give up a job, a cushy full time government job, was a tough decision. But then the choice was either I give it up or I have a good health, because my health was going down. So I took a decision and I gave it up. That was in 2005. Started doing private tuitions after that, and I'm still continuing. It's 11 years, 12 years since I've left. It's not been easy. It's been tough. It's been tough. And the worst thing was when my son announced that he wants to be an artist. I said, no, no way. So 6 months there was counseling and, like trying to bribe him, and that, don't be an artist. Do anything in the world, anything. You can be a peon, I don't care, but just don't be an artist. But then I realized, because since I've been teaching for 30 years, that this boy is so determined. He's so determined, he just wants to be an artist. Fables Retold is something which every mother, when she's bringing up her child, she tells these stories. So I made this disc. I made about 125 of them, and I did woodcuts. I had a small press in my old Barsati. I took out woodcut prints. I painted on it. I added sequins, stickers on it, and the one which you see on the floor has got about 25 of them, which has his old toys, broken toys. I just got more and more involved into the mixed media, because I feel mixed media is very therapeutic, very meditative for me. I started coming to terms in life with my personal life and the art life. So I started doing this mixed medias, which started entering into my works. But now it's so crowded, it's so intricate, and it's so intense, the mixed medias, that I don't leave any breathing space in it. I just love it. I started with a series called Frida and Me. I saw this film by Frida Kahlo. I've always admired her, but I saw this film and it moved me tremendously. So I started this series called Frida and Me. I photoshopped her image, her symbols which she used, with a small me at the bottom or on the side or on the shoulder. I'm a drop in the ocean compared to Frida Kahlo, but I just feel that she went through a lot of physical pain. Fortunately, I didn't, but I went through a lot of emotional and psychological pain in my life. So that's how I compared myself, and I started adding mixed medias on it, embellishing it. The earlier works you see, as you see here, they're lesser embellishment, but as it goes later, it becomes so crowded and so full. It takes me weeks to do one work. The latest work which you see now is got a torso, and it's got a Lajja Devi sitting at the bottom. Lajja Devi is a yogini where she's giving birth to a child. And this other yogini 3 which you are seeing is, I have again put Lajja Devi yogini, and I have not shown that she's giving birth, but I have shown another Devi upside down coming out. So it's something which is like an ongoing process, and I'm enjoying doing it. Of course, a lot of people ask, why do you do this thing with the mythological images? Because I get inspired when I travel, when I go to places like Khajuraho, Belur, Hassan, or anywhere. If I see a sculpture, a Devi, or I see a female sculpture, I take pictures of it, and I'm not ashamed about saying, I don't deny it. I do take reference from Indian sculpture, and I have been doing it for the last 20 years. And now, of course, I feel that the works are much more therapeutic, meditative, and stronger, because I think I have emerged as a strong woman.